working on. And then on the federal level, there's a lot of activity right now with a lot of federal funds that are paying for grant dollars being put on, we'll just say, tactical pause while they're being evaluated. The thought out there is that programs that are in place and currently funded will likely continue to be funded, but there could be a pause in reimbursement. So whether that's going to be a couple weeks or months is yet to be determined. So a lot of the stuff out there moving target wise. So their forest health grants are in for review right now. And so those will be pending coming out in July, August for award throughout all of the counties, including Napa County. So I look forward to supporting those events. I continue to, like I said, use the model of many things being done by all of you and NCFF and the Fire Administrator's Office and Napa County Fire and the Napa County Fire Marshal's Office, all in collaboration with inspections and data gathering and data mining and making that data available to all of the fire safe councils, for example, because everybody needs that data, and it's on my forefront to try to, when the opportunity rises, to get that on platforms so everybody can go to a one place to get the data they need for the folks in your community to talk about what you're doing as well as what's happening in their surrounding communities. So that's definitely a priority that I've talked about with many of our cooperators. That continues to be a goal to support all of your efforts. So I've talked a little bit about grants. I've talked a little bit about all the amazing things that happen here in Napa County that I use to try to emulate in other counties. I just thank you all so much for your individual boots on the ground efforts as as the network continues down. You folks are the ones living in those communities, and I just can't thank you enough. And keep on the good work. And with that, I think I'll turn it back to Sherry, unless there's any questions.
Mike, is there anything in particular that you'd like to see us working more on, or with our fire safe councils addressing more in terms of engagement or educating with the community?
Nothing that I see so many things. Like you just listed a group or a list of activities that's happening recently. I know that spring is going to be a busy time for most of the fire safe councils. Most community events and participating in those community events, it's really key to the fire safe councils participating in those local events because you know where they are, you know who's going to be there, you know the target audience. The public information type of events that we support, our calendar for the next 3 months is already every weekend is already booked throughout the 6 counties. So as more events continue to pile on, just the Fire Safe Council's role in representing the fire service as well as yourself in general, and being that steward of, it might be a local fire department question, it might be a CALFIRE question, it might be a Forest Service question, and I know that you have highly educated folks out there in all of your groups that would do their very best to represent the fire service, and I appreciate that, and I trust all of them to be sharing the good word and the message as much as possible. But as far as focusing, I know that PBA activity in the Valley is something that is growing, and I would say that's an encouraging thing. And as folks have the opportunity to participate in that, that's the kind of new and upcoming thing. And then just continue all of the local efforts that you folks are doing, that we see on social media, we hear about, and that you just covered. So I guess the only thing really that's kind of new is the PBA, Prescribed Burn Association, Prescribed Fire activity with volunteers and landowners that are outside of the fire service. That's a new and upcoming thing, and so that would be something to keep an eye on for anybody who can support that.
Mike, do you have any updates in regard to the PBA and CALFIRE's potential role in assisting local residents with doing burns on private property, or is that a topic for another meeting?
Well, I mean, there's a statewide prescribed burn association. The other counties started in Humboldt County. Humboldt County started a PBA. Lake County kind of has partnered with Terra and Trex, and so Terra and Trex are the lead in their PBA activities in Lake County, and what that's going to look like in Napa County, I think, is still unfolding. I think that between the RCD and NCFF that have been talking about PBA activities, and they have some seed money to start some of that stuff. Other counties have certainly started with you start by getting a grant to buy tools and a trailer that all the fire safety councils share that resource going around to do fuels reduction, and then the PBA, while we can be there to assist, whether it's our friends here at the Napa County Fire Department, the Napa County Volunteer Fire Companies, and or CALFIRE. The prescribed burn component is almost a standalone activity as it's designed throughout the state. So I think that is yet to be determined on what that model is going to look like here in Napa County. But I would anticipate those discussions maybe with Chief Greenberg and the fire safe councils and the volunteer fire companies. What that's going to look like is going to be determined by this geographical area.
EBD. Okay, thank you. Other questions for Chief Link?
Not, I think we have Eric Hernandez on the line from the Fire Marshal's office.
Yes.
Hello, Eric.
How's it going? I think I turned on my camera, so let me know if you guys can see me or not. All right.
I see you.
We had you.
Okay. Is that better? Let me turn it around.
Oh, there you are.
Perfect. I can't see it, but hey, everybody. Oh, now I can see it. Hey, everybody. Yeah. Thanks so much, Chief Wink, for jumping on, and Lori and Sherry for hosting today. A couple of things that we got going on that are coming up pretty soon and I want to make everybody aware of is obviously we're going to be working with our fire chief councils as far as the chipping days. So what we're going to be doing is through our Napa County Fire Marshal's social media page on Facebook and Instagram, what we're gonna do this year as far as the chipping program, and I know JR has done a good job on putting together a calendar for what weeks we're going to be going to different communities. What I'm going to be doing this year is a little bit different. I'm going to be announcing up to 2 weeks in advance to let the community know that, hey, your turn is next. Get your stuff ready. We're going to be coming out. Similar to that, same thing as with our defensible space inspections. As we're going to be coming out to your communities, I'm going to be releasing the in advance information that we're going to be coming to your jurisdiction. That way, people are ready. It's another way of us encouraging people that we're going to be coming out inspecting, but also we're coming out with our resources as far as the chipper program. This year, we're going to be hiring 6 defensible space inspectors. And so, last year we did a little bit over 4,500 inspections. This year, we're going to increase, your Napa County Fire Department is going to be increasing those numbers by hiring 6 defensible space inspectors. And what we're doing is I'm making sure that our teams are knocking on doors. So to be able to get a quality inspection, I want to make sure that we're going and through not only just the front yard, but also back and sides. So that's why we're going to be announcing ahead of time so that people prepare that we're going to be knocking on the doors. The other thing is, I saw a picture of Chief Berlant, the state fire marshal, last week in Sonoma. And I saw a picture of him with a Fire Safe Council, and I think they had a certificate of a community that was recently recognized, which is kudos to Sonoma. I have a vision, and I'm trying to put this together, working through, through my chain of command. I would love that in the future, Napa County has 17 recognized fire safe councils. I would love to do something similar, but bring all of us together so that we can show the strong numbers that we have. I know we have 22 active fire safe councils. And ideally, if we were able to bring all of us together and then just kind of talk about what everybody's doing, I would love to host something in our office, and even if we have to divide it up and maybe do one up valley, one down valley, and maybe another one in the east, that's something that I want to start doing in the future. The other thing is this, as the weather is going to be favoring and for defensible space projects and stuff like that, I know there's going to be an increase of complaints that are going to be coming up. So just keep in mind, our process is not necessarily give them my phone number. Historically, that's what we've done. But last year we moved into a new model. So we're basically directing everybody to our County of Napa fire marshal's website so that people can submit a complaint through our channels through there, and we can keep track of those that are those complaints that are being submitted. Just as a reminder, these are these complaints, we're not going to release the information of who the reporting party is. All we need is basically a way for us to communicate with you if you're going to be submitting those complaints, and it gives us the proper information so that we can have consistency with our inspection program. Let's see what else. In the next couple of months, I'm going to be having tours with our board of supervisor aides. So each district, what that means is I'm going to be visiting each fire safe council with a supervisor aide. And the idea with these visits is to basically bring the supervisors through the aides up to speed as far as what we have been doing in the winter months. And I say I want to convey Chief Wing's message that this is Firewise. Our Firewise Fire Safe Councils, CALFIRE, Napa County Fire, and our stakeholders from the vintners that have been doing amazing work. So as we're coming out, I'm going to be giving you guys a heads up. That way, and maybe if time permits, we can do a meet and greet. That way, if you have any questions about other stuff in addition to defensible space, we can do an introduction with the supervisor aide. And we're gonna, through our social media, our Napa County Fire Marshal social media page, we're pushing out information as far as fuel reduction projects. Well, I'm working hand in hand with Stephanie Smithers from Napa Firewise, and we're tackling as far as fuel reductions. A lot of these fuel reduction projects are funded by the county, so I've been kind of working with her as far as messaging and getting some footage. And so we're going to continue that, and we're going to kick it up a notch. So that way, my vision is as we continue through this year, we're going to continue highlighting everything that we're doing and how Napa County is being very proactive in creating fire resiliency. So if you haven't done so already, please follow us, our Napa County Fire Marshals Facebook and Instagram page, so that you can be current with some of these projects that are coming down. Other than that, if anybody has any questions, please let me know. Don't be afraid of reaching out to me. I always welcome any feedback, whether it's negative or positive. And we thank all of you guys for all the amazing work that you guys continue doing, because I got to tell you, this to create a fire resilient community, it takes everybody, and you guys are definitely doing your part. And I'm very proud to say that I'm actually down here right now in Monterey teaching a class on and emergency preparedness. And I had a couple of people come up to me and actually mentioned that they've read some articles on the great work that we're doing in Napa County. So just know that Firewise and Fire Safe Council's name is getting out there as well. So I'm very proud to share that information with you guys.
That's great, Eric. Thank you. And we will share, Sherry and I usually put some of the resources in the notes when we send out the PowerPoints. We'll make sure we resend out the a website email address for when people want to ask questions about chipping or have complaints or anything else. So we'll make sure we reshare that out.
Thank you.
If there's no questions for Eric, I'd like to turn it over to the Fire Administrator's office. It's JR is on this evening. Hello, JR.
Hello. Two things for everyone. Good evening. Good to see everybody and your smiling faces, at least those that have their cameras on. I'm talking to you, Phil Burton. Just kidding. But I wanted to beat that chipping banner drum a little bit harder and just kind of piggyback on what Eric mentioned as well, and just say that there you are, Phil. Atta boy. My friend down in Pope Valley. We'll be out. We're on track to get the chipping program off the ground. So keep pushing that schedule out there to your folks, and we'll be launching that application on March 17, and then launching the program on March 31st. So we're excited to get that off the ground and get that moving. We will be moving we're starting with one crew and bringing a second online as demand increases. We kind of went a little bit in the inverse last year, which is okay, but we're gonna do it a little differently. So keep up on that schedule there, and which maybe is coming on the screen. We'll see. It says, there we go. Look at that. Pretty graphic.
Remarkable.
So countyofnapa.org/chipping is the direct link to that. Has the application, also has the information on how to prepare your piles and get things ready to go. The second thing that I'm excited to be moving forward on is a partnership with NCFF and CALFIRE as well to take advantage of some of the personnel and work on some maintenance projects. We've identified some funding and some projects. I won't go through all of them, but countywide to do some cleanup on some of our initial work that we've done several years ago. On fuels reduction projects, and also do some work on some of our dozer lines that NCFF has put in over the past couple of years to, start doing maintenance. It's that kind of unicorn per se. There's a lot of great money and grant money out there for initial work that we've gotten from FEMA and a lot through Chief Winkshot with CALFIRE, but we got to keep a lot of that up, and so we're kind of starting to shift into that and have been identified some, like I said, some work that we'll be able to do here, hopefully over the next few months as we head towards the summer to kind of capitalize on some of the resources available and some funding to be able to do that. So, like I said, won't get into specifics on the projects at this particular moment, but you'll be hearing a little bit more about what may be happening in your neighborhood in conjunction to that. So, excited about that. Those are the two main things that I have to update on. Happy to answer any questions.
JR, wonderful to hear you again. Just miss you, and you are one of the major movers in this. So good for you.
Well, I appreciate it, and I think no one wants to ask questions since I called you out. So we'll carry on. Sherry, back to you.
It's your fault. Yeah.
Thanks, Sharon. We'll keep advertising for that. Let's see. And sharing this schedule around. I think it's so helpful to have a schedule, and a lot of our fire safe councils I know are planning around this schedule to do programs ahead of the chipper days. So that
one more comment to both Sherry and JR. Pope Valley has been sort of behind the group in all of Firewise thing. A lot of it are sort of landowners who've been, ranch owners and stuff who have been and a little bit sort of scary about dealing with, county things or, political things. And so it's nice to see that we're starting to encompassing all these things now without any kind of, backlog. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil. I think we can move over to Fire Safe Council updates now. If we have someone maybe from Silverado on, or Atlas Peak, or Soda Canyon, or Mount George, who'd like to speak to your event last Friday and kind of, how that came together and how it went, that would be great. Or Sherry can speak to it since I know she was there.
Well, while we're waiting for someone to jump in there, I would like to say that that was a great event. It started out as a fundraiser, and then it turned more into a social event where they had all these fire safe councils came together. They had a lovely wine and food tasting at the Silverado Country Club. But there were so many great conversations that were going on through that room, cross-pollination on what people are working on or what their issues and successes are that they could share with each other. Fire was there. Saw Eric Hernandez and some of the battalion chiefs, I think, and JR, I think I saw you there. There were lots of folks there, plus board of supervisors, and then some information tables set up and lots of great questions going around the room. But we were hoping that one of the Silverado Fire Safe Council folks would be on the call. I don't see anyone.
I'm at Atlas Peak, and unfortunately I was out of the country for this because I really would have liked to have gone. So yeah, I'm anxious to hear how it went as well, and also how focused it was during the party wine tasting on fire prevention. No one.
Yeah, well, I would say that dogs. There were no speeches given to address the whole group. It was sort of a loose flowing celebration. But all the conversations that I heard were about fire, wildfire prevention, and a lot of residents too going around to the different tables and asking questions about defensible space. And we got a lot of questions about grazing and about what kinds of plants people should plant, and what you can do around your yard to make it safer if you've invested in mulch instead of lawn or something. Like, what can you do to remedy that situation without spending a whole bunch more money? And so there were just a lot of good. I think everybody there was thinking about fire and what can be done next. There were a lot of conversations about LA and what happened there and sort of what that means for our more urban communities. And I don't know that there again, it would have been maybe great to have a moment where the crowd was addressed and some information shared that way, but it really was overall just a kind of a fun social cross-pollination event. Lots of people were introduced to other people working in the wildfire prevention world, people that they had never met before. Lots of people thanking firefighters for the work that they do. And it was just a great event. And there were about 170 people there, which was more than had been planned for. And from all accounts, the food and wine was lovely, and just it was a really positive event, I think. We'll try to get a report, more of a report from the different fire safe councils that were involved in that, and send that around as well, just so you can hear their thoughts on it. And did anyone else attend it? Does anyone else want to chime in?
I do know from an email I received from Silverado is that on the sign-up list, they did have some names and emails that they didn't have as members of their FSC. So it did attract some new people. So sometimes we think at these events, it's all of us just talking to each other, but there are really people who are still coming in, are brought into these events. So it's so important that we continue to be out there and accessible, whether it's holding an event like this or a smaller community meeting or tabling. It's just, there are a lot of people out there that we can still engage with in the community. And I think it was wonderful to hear that, new people came to this event.
That's a great point. And then the other thing I would say is that there were some questions that I found interesting. For instance, a lot of people, because it was held at Silverado, lived in the immediate Silverado area, but they had a lot of questions about the grazing program that is ongoing, maintenance program that the Fire Safe Council raises funds to support, and really helps run that, manage the project as far as getting landowner agreements and getting working with the grazer. But there were questions from the community about that program and just not fully understanding it. So I think providing opportunities again where people can come and ask questions that maybe they don't know who to ask, or they hadn't really it hadn't occurred to them to ask, but they're just sort of mulling these questions. And then we know better what kind of content to share and where there are gaps in the information that is getting out to people.
Yeah, and then finally, one other point I just wanted to make was it's really wonderful to see several fire safe councils coming together for an event. We've been talking a lot about, not just like projects in FSCs, but like adjacent FSCs and things that cross, just like things cross county lines and city lines, FSCs partnering together for an issue that might be, specific to their region. And anytime we're speaking with groups who are looking at starting an FSC or newer in this space, we let them know there is so much knowledge across all of our existing FSCs and how they're engaging with their community or things that they've tried. And so it's just seeing this coming together like this, I think was really powerful. And I think we can look for opportunities for more. And certainly that's something that Sherry and I are both thinking about.
Definitely.
Great, thank you.
In this busy week, there was a meeting last night in Capel Valley. Capel Valley is one of our new fire safe councils, been put in motion with the leadership of Lon, who's on the call here. Lon, do you want to talk at all about the community meeting last night?
Sure, Sherry. Good evening, everybody. Just want to thank everyone who came out last night and supported our meeting. We're small but mighty is the way I would describe us. We've got our mailing list up to 20. The goal last night was to update everyone on the progress that we've made since we formed our Fire Safe Council last year, and update everyone on gaining Firewise USA recognition and also working on our community wildland protection program. So thought it was a good event. We kind of kicked it off with a pre-meeting tour of some of the projects that we've done at our ranch. Really appreciate Mike and the group from the veg management team to help us get 5 days worth of dozer work in. So we were able to take Carol and Lori out for a tour to kind of show them the impacts, the positive impacts of those projects. We were also able to show off what I think is probably one of the best we've got going at Napa Firewise. So we've really improved our fuel loading with the use of grazing with the partnership with Napa Pasture Protein. So that's kind of the summary. I very much look forward to setting a hard date to get our Firewise USA recognition and follow up on our CWPP. And that's the end of the report. Thank you.
Move on. The CWP is clicking along, and I know you guys made a request too. It's a meeting for some help from some of the community members. I think you got some more support for your building steering committee for your own for your fire safe council, and some support for working on your Firewise action plan of projects for getting that going as well. Great. All good progress.
It's been really over the last few months to see how far Mount George has come from their community meeting and their stead at CWPP and moving forward and identifying, putting together a sort of steering committee there. And Hope Valley, has come with the CWPP. Getting people to raise their hand and volunteers. And now with Capel Valley, I just feel like there's really a lot of momentum with these new FSCs and such good work being done. And we so appreciate all that all of you are doing. You can really, I mean, last night you could feel the energy of, what was being accomplished and that people were really engaged in wanting to make a difference. So thanks for leading that, Lon. So are any other FSCs, anyone else want to provide any updates on what's going on? We like to leave it open, at each meeting, and we specifically took it from the end into the meeting because we felt like there was always this opportunity. And then at the very end, it would get squished and we only had a few minutes. We want to make sure we have this time set aside to hear from all of you because such good stuff is going on out there. We want you all to be able to share it.
Well, as far as Pope Valley goes, there's been a sort of a hiatus since last October. I've been traveling. It's a lot, and a lot of these properties out here are fairly far apart. They're ranchers, and many of them are suspicious of anything they think might be government intervention. So, but we're slowly working around. We've got about half a dozen people now who are willing to work with a group, and we have a couple of meetings coming up, and we're looking forward to actually getting this up and moving. And I thank you all.
Well, it's definitely been moving, Phil, through your sheer force of will, I will say. And now you have Paul on board, and I know we're having another meeting next week. So we're really excited by the momentum that you and the community there has made happen over just, a matter of, you feel like it's months, but really, if you think about it, it's weeks. So it's really exciting. So cup half full, cup half empty.
Well, thank you very much.
Anyone else?
I have a quick update from Diamond Mountain Fire Safe Council. It's not strictly Fire Safe Council formal business, but a couple of our members took the CERT training course in Calistoga, and I just wanted to let everybody know that Calistoga CERT, C-E-R-T, Community Emergency Response Team, it's a voluntary corps, has set up a brand new CERT chapter in Calistoga. So it's official, and I'm not super active, but I did take the training, and I'm really excited about the idea of more, local regular citizens just understanding how to do emergency services and to support the first responders. It's to fill in the gaps for the first responders in the event of any emergency, fire, earthquake, flood, whatnot. So yeah, so I got two of myself and another person to take the training, and hopefully we'll do some more. And then it has been quiet, sort of the quiet winter months where people are away or doing different things, and but we are planning a vegetation management program on Diamond Mountain Road. There's a maintenance thing, and then also we've had some really good progress with our committee that's working with both a Napa State Park, which is on our edge, our southern edge, and so there's some really great progress there with the state park engaging in vegetation management and being willing, to get involved with that, because about 6 or more years ago when we first started engaging with them about it, there was a lot of resistance, but so we're really happy to see great progress there. And it's not just the Diamond Mountain Fire Safe Council. There's other people like Spring Mountain that have been involved in this effort, but we're really excited to see it moving along.
And Gretchen, I'll just throw in there, it's Pam from Spring Mountain. The cross collaboration between FSCs has been really incredible, and we're very lucky that Christopher Warner is the St. Helena Fire Safe Council lead. So between the three FSCs, we're basically trying to, by sheer numbers and force and not letting anything go, trying to really push the parks for various projects that are prioritized by this sort of task force, I guess is what we call it, across the three FSCs. And I'm proud to say on the south side here, it looks like we're going to be getting some 30-foot clearances for ingress and egress on the park roads within Bale Mill.
that are going to get approved here pretty soon, all the way up to Stony Hill, as well as to our property here. So that will be a huge breakthrough, but it's only because of the work of the joint FSCs that it's making headway. I've been trying for 11 years with State
Yeah.
Park.
And it's been at least
being a resident inside the
6-year
park, yeah. So
Yeah, it's been at least a 6-year FSC effort. So it just shows that, you know, you sort of start on something and it maybe doesn't feel like it's getting any traction, or there's resistance, like discussing in Pope Valley there. But after a while, if you keep going, it starts to open up and starts to flow, and, you know, people start to understand what the priorities really are.
even state parks, so, you know,
Even state
public
parks.
lands, so it's a different group of constituents than Phil's dealing with, but I, you know, it does help when there's a lot of you working on it together.
Mhm. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna say, but that's good news.
Thank you for those updates. That's amazing. Was there someone else? I think someone else was speaking. I know Sherry, when I was talking a lot about, you know, the state park as well and the work trying to get done. So knowing that you're actually moving things forward, I know that's a huge win. And it sounds like, you know, dialogue is happening now and action is being, you know, discussed and things are actually moving. So that's really great news. So thank you all for partnering together.
It is, and we have utilized the example of the Palisades Fire, where I actually have a home right on the southeast corner. And that started on state park lands and spread to the Pacific Palisades. So we've actually been utilizing that as an example. And I think Ann Cottrell, who's been involved with our task force as well, feels that that has helped her gain some momentum and traction with the conversations at the Sacramento level at state parks. So if those of you are bordering on public lands, whether it's federal or state, you know, Anne has been very collaborative with our groups, and I highly recommend you reach out to her office if that's a roadblock for you right now, any public lands. She's very familiar with the details of sort of finessing of trying to get the change to occur.
Thank you for that. Are there any other updates from anyone about anything? And updates or questions? We just want to make sure we make time available for everyone. You probably hear enough of Sherry and I talking. We could be here till 10 at night. So we try to be quiet sometimes.
Sometimes, not very often.
Well, we don't make any promises, do we? With that, I think we'll just round out the call and give a couple of updates from all of this exciting work to something much more tedious. I just wanted to let you know that we're working on updating our FSC email list. We found that we're sending a lot more out through MailChimp now. So instead of just from, you know, Sherry or Lori at, you know, Napa Firewise, who are, you know, our Outlook account, we were sending emails. We've been sending things through MailChimp because we're faster, especially if something's going on. We can push it out a lot more quickly. It looks nicer and it catches people's attention easier, and they have a tendency to want to forward it on because it's just a little bit of an easier read. The downside of that is we might have your email in Outlook, but you've unsubscribed from Napa Firewise, which means you're also not getting our leads information. So I just wanted to make a distinction. If you are one of our leads associated with a fire safe council, like I used Angwin as an example, you know, even if you unsubscribe from NCFF, you're still getting every email that anyone ever sent to Angwin at Napa Firewise. Those will always go to Lauren. But if Lauren had unsubscribed from Napa Firewise at some point, when I send out the leads emails or, you know, the dispatch or, you know, anything that comes through NCFF, you're not currently getting it. So Sherry, if you want to flip over to the next slide. So compounding this is the fact that recently we've been getting a lot of spam. So before I sent an email out to a few of you to say, hey, you need to resubscribe, it's kind of a strange email address that it's asking you to click on. So I just wanted to let you know it's going to look something like this. And when you click on it, it will look like Napa Firewise. You can always call me or Sherry if you ever receive any sort of email that you think is a spam. Feel free to reach out to us. We're getting some just weird email into, to my wildfire preparedness email, to my own email. It's everywhere. We called our IT provider and they just said, yes, it's just rampant right now. But this is legitimate. And we want to be able to make sure that we can reach you if you're interested. There is not pressure to resubscribe. It just means that you're probably not receiving some of the communications as FRC leadership. So I will be reaching out to you, to the FSC leads specifically, because I also want to update, make sure I have the right folks for this particular meeting and communications, as well as your financial report, and that we have the right leads on your website. We're just doing a little, first quarter house cleaning to make sure everybody's getting what they want and what they need.
Can I ask, so since we're looking, if we get this email from eepearl.com, what is that? What is that?
This came, this is an email that's, because Stephanie Smithers, who is our marketing manager and runs all of our email, and MailChimp and all of that. This is the sample that she gave me with that link. And I clicked on that link and that brought me to this nice, pretty Napa Firewise box that asked for the information. I don't know why it's such a weird address. And I was going to ask her if we could perhaps switch that up to say something like not scary email resubscribe or something like that. But it's for now, that's what it's going to look like. And so I'm not going to send it out until I can make sure that I could possibly change that. And it's hard because the only way to reach all of you to let you know about this is through Outlook. So what I would do is I would email you through Outlook with this so that you could resubscribe, because I have no other way to get to some of you. Yeah. So I just wanted to let you know that that's going on, because a number of leads, it's been bouncing back as undeliverable.
Right. So you could take this eepearl.com and link, put a different name on it, and then have that link.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to see if we can do that.
It's still coming from you. The original email is coming from you. But then this is what you want us to, the button you want us to hit to reset.
But when you see this no longer subscribe, that's what's going on, is we're trying to make sure on the back end that we're able to make sure that everybody who's getting all the communications.
Yeah, that's good. Housekeeping. It's endless.
It is endless housekeeping. But but it's important as well. So, and then that's really one of the main updates we have. We just wanted to let you know that that was coming. The other items we've touched on a little bit already, and you're going to hear a slight bit of nagging from Sherry and I this year. For those of you who have Firewise renewals in November, it's time to start thinking about what you need to do in spring. And for those of you who don't have Firewise, it's also great to dust off that CWPP and look at sort of the projects and engagements you wanted to do in your community. And there's, no better time than aligning with upcoming chipping days to do maybe some sort of community event. And we're working on a calendar events that we're going to be at throughout the community ourselves with NCFF. But we wanted to be partnering with each of the fire councils as well to kind of understand what you might be working on and how we might assist with that. But with the idea of trying to get some of this done in the spring, early summer, and not the mad dash for renewal in November, which is never fun. In addition, while you're checking the box for Firewise, you are doing what we set out to do with having a Firewise designation, and that is you are creating a more resilient community by people doing their volunteer hours, by raising awareness, doing education. So we're just always going to put a plug in for that until November, in which we're going to congratulate you all on your renewals, and then we'll start nagging you again next January. So that's going to be just so you know, I'm just setting it up that, we really want to see everybody keep their Firewise designation, and we'd love to get all of our fire councils have that designation. But it does require a little of us to keep, reminding all of you. And then I think, Sherry, that was pretty much what we wanted to cover this evening, I think. You're muted. If there was anything else you wanted to add.
Hard to drive this show. That was most of it. Many of you have already met with us for a Napa Firewise Fire Safe Council one-on-one. For those who haven't had that meeting, we would sure love to schedule it. We've got some dates Lori sent around. SurveyMonkey, not SurveyMonkey. I forgot the name of it. The
Genius.
Sign Up Genius. not a genius at this time of day for me, that for everyone to use to schedule a time. We've already wrangled Joe and our veg ops team to be present for those meetings. But if we need to come to you or set up a Zoom because the coming to the office down in Napa isn't going to work for your team, that is totally fine too. You can just contact Lori or myself and we'll wrangle them another day. We'll kidnap them.
But it's been really an opportunity for us to sit down and talk about what's going on with your Fire Safe Council, give you a strategic update from Napa Firewise, and sort of plot things going forward in terms of, how we can better support you. And so it's just a nice opportunity to really sit down and work through that. And we found, I think everybody so far has really appreciated when Joe's been giving sort of a vision of where Napa's, Napa Firewise is going. Our veg ops teams walk through the projects, and there's a chance to just really have that one-on-one time with Steve or Mike to ask a lot of those questions. So again, the Sign Up Genius was a starting point just to have some slots where I literally put on, Steve, Mike, and Joe's calendar, hold these days. So it's a starting point. So, but we're also flexible to additional days and times. Just go ahead and reach out to us. And then you can look for, we are planning another tour coming up probably sometime in late March. We don't have details yet, but every month or so, we're going to try and work with our veg ops team to make sure we can get FSC leads out to see some of the projects so they can understand the different type of work that's being done. And we're going to try and do that, to the extent that we can throughout the year. So we're hoping to have another one in March. We had one in December at Tucker Farm. We had one in January at Timber Hill. So one of those is coming up as well. So we hope to, we're trying to determine best dates and times. I think everyone had agreed that mornings on Friday is best, but we might try others. So if you have any feedback about when that would work best for you, please don't hesitate to reach out, because we love seeing everyone there.
And if you have a project in mind or some other type of thing that you would like to showcase and share with your co-Fire Safe Council folks, let us know. I know, Rich, we talked about perhaps coming up to see all the treated areas that were, you had some work done and then did some prescribed fire, and pretty exciting stuff there too. So I don't know, now may not be the best time with wet roads and wildflowers everywhere, I'm assuming, but we love to schedule that one too.
Well, I haven't been up there in a couple of weeks, but yes, we definitely need to do that. My mom reported back to me that it looked like Ireland because it was so green. So clearly the burn has restored a lot of the nutrients in the soil, and everything is growing back with a vengeance. Not much else to report at this point from our neck of the woods, but Eileen and I are about to get back together here, and I'm sure that I'll have lots of tasks on hand and people coming up to do work and the like, which we should be showing off as a way to demonstrate what CALFIRE and Firewise are capable of, because none of it would be getting done without their capable help.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right. With that, I would like to point out that I think for the first time we are ending on time, and we've given you 8 minutes back, which probably means that right now we only have a deficit of about 30 minutes. So we're paying down our debt here. So thank you all for being here tonight. We're happy to stay on longer for anyone who has any questions. That's always our plan, to stay on, but unless people have further questions, please feel free to resume the rest of your evening. And thank you again for making time to be here. We really appreciate all of your input. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Laurie and Sherry. Really appreciate all of your efforts to make this happen.
Thank you. All your work. Amazing.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.